You're not missing her, you're addicted to the feeling she gave you. If you've been scrolling through her photos, replaying old messages, or checking your phone every few minutes, pause right now and comment. Type her if you feel like you're missing her, or feeling if you know it's the rush you're addicted to. I want to see who's really trapped in this cycle. Most men think missing an ex is normal love, but here's the truth. Your brain isn't missing her, it's missing the attention, validation, and emotional high she gave you. Every time you check her social media or replay memories, it triggers a dopamine rush, keeping you stuck and unable to move on. Stay with me till the end, because I'm about to reveal the 8 most powerful addictions men fall into after a breakup, and give real, actionable solutions to break free. By the time you finish watching, you'll understand why missing her isn't love, and how to regain control of your emotions. Drop a comment if you've ever felt trapped in this cycle, and don't scroll past. This is breakup advice for men that actually works. If you want more strategies to control your emotions and master your stoic mindset, make sure to like this video and subscribe, because what I'm about to show you could change the way you move on, stop missing her, and build yourself stronger. Addiction 1. Attention. Addiction number 1 is attention. This is one of the most dangerous traps after a breakup because it keeps your brain wired to her even when she's gone. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You check your phone every few minutes. You scroll through her Instagram stories, her posts, even her old photos. You find yourself refreshing messages, hoping, praying, for a notification. And when it doesn't come, that empty pit in your stomach grows bigger. That craving intensifies. And when it does come, even if it's just a simple like, a reply, or a comment, it gives you a temporary high, a rush of dopamine, like your brain is rewarding you for chasing her. Then the crash hits, leaving you emptier than before. This isn't love. This is emotional addiction. Your brain has associated her attention with reward. Every glance, every message, every interaction, even the smallest acknowledgement, becomes a hit of validation your mind craves. The longer this cycle continues, the more trapped you feel. You might even tell yourself, I need her attention to feel okay, or without her acknowledgement, I'm incomplete. That's the addiction. Her attention has become a substitute for self-worth. Imagine a man who checked his phone obsessively after a breakup. Every notification made his heart race. Every lack of response left him hollow. He replayed conversations in his head, analyzing every word, imagining what she could be thinking, and wondering why she wasn't texting back. When she did respond, the relief was intense, but short-lived. The crash that followed was stronger, reinforcing the cycle. That is the trap of attention addiction. Most men convince themselves they're being rational. I miss her because I love her, they tell themselves. But it's not love. It's the chemical reward your brain craves. Every time you think about her, every time you check her social media, your brain is seeking dopamine. That's why it feels impossible to move on. So what's the solution? Step 1. Limit these triggers. Delete or mute her on social media if necessary. Turn off notifications. Remove yourself from environments that tempt you to check her online. Every time you remove the trigger, your brain gets a chance to reset. You begin to take back control of your emotional state. Step 2. Shift focus to attention you control. Pour energy into things that make you feel accomplished and independent. Work on your fitness. Improve your skills. Build habits that give you pride and confidence. Replace the craving for external validation with internal achievement. The Stoic mindset is key here. Remember, I do not need her approval to feel worthy. Your value is determined by your actions, discipline, and growth, not by whether she messages you back or likes a post. Internal validation is freedom. Here's an example. A man obsessed with checking his ex's messages decided to mute her social media and focus on his career. At first, he felt anxious. His brain was used to the dopamine hits. But within days, he began feeling lighter. He could concentrate. He could enjoy his work. The addiction faded as he replaced old habits with constructive ones. Action step for you. Comment below if you've ever been addicted to her attention. Type yes if you recognize it. Hit the like button if you're committed to breaking free. Subscribe if you want to follow this journey, because what we're covering in this video can completely transform the way you move on from her. You are not weak or broken. Addiction to attention is a normal response after a breakup. Your brain craves reward, and she gave the most intense one it had experienced. But now, you have the awareness and the mindset to regain control. Limit triggers, redirect your energy, and internalize the stoic truth. I do not need her approval to feel worthy. The chains of attention addiction start breaking the moment you do. Addiction 2, nostalgia. Addiction number 2 is nostalgia. This is when your mind keeps replaying memories, photos, videos, and conversations long after she's gone. You think about the way she smiled, the laughter you shared, the moments that made you feel alive. At first, it feels comforting. But soon, it becomes a trap. Your brain clings to the past, replaying what was, imagining what could have been, and in doing so, it keeps you stuck in the pain of missing her. Nostalgia is subtle. It doesn't always hit like a crash of attention addiction. It's slow, quiet, and persistent. You might find yourself scrolling through old photos or messages, thinking about better times. You imagine what she might be doing now, how she's feeling, or if she's thinking of you. Your mind builds entire scenarios of what could have been. And while it feels safe and familiar, it prevents you from moving forward. You're not missing her, you're addicted to the comfort and the emotional high that comes from reliving the past. Let me paint a picture. A man sits alone in his apartment, late at night. He pulls out his phone and scrolls through old conversations, replaying moments over and over. The laughter, the intimacy, the connection, it floods him with emotions. He feels warmth, then suddenly emptiness as he remembers she's gone. The cycle repeats. His mind becomes addicted to the memory, to the illusion that the past can be relived. This is nostalgia addiction in action. The solution starts with acknowledgement. Recognize that the past is gone, and your mind is clinging to it. Write it down, journal your thoughts, or even say it aloud. I acknowledge the past, but it is over. This step is crucial because it forces your brain to confront reality rather than run on autopilot through memories. Step 2. Redirect your energy to the present and future. Instead of dwelling on old conversations, focus on learning a new skill, building your body, or working on a project that gives you pride. When you actively replace old habits of nostalgia with growth-focused activities, your brain begins rewiring itself. You slowly break the mental loop of clinging to what no longer exists. The Stoic mindset teaches us that the past is outside our control. The past is gone. Only the present is mine to control. You cannot change yesterday, but you can master today. When you live with this mindset, nostalgia loses its power over you. Example: a man who spent weeks revisiting old conversations decided to journal every morning instead of scrolling through messages. He reflected on lessons learned rather than reliving moments. He replaced the habit of replaying the past with exercise and learning. Within days, the pull of nostalgia weakened, and he began feeling a sense of freedom he hadn't felt since the breakup. Here's your action step. Comment below if you've been addicted to nostalgia. Like the video if you're ready to focus on the present, and subscribe if you want more strategies to rebuild yourself after a breakup. Remember, you are not weak. Nostalgia is your brain's way of seeking comfort in the familiar. But when you acknowledge it, redirect your energy, and apply the Stoic mindset, you reclaim control over your mind, your emotions, and your life. You begin the process of moving on from her and building yourself into someone independent, resilient, and free. Addiction 3. Emotional highs. Addiction number 3 is emotional highs. After a breakup, your brain craves the rush of strong emotions. Excitement, euphoria, validation, intimacy, all the feelings that made you feel alive when you were with her. This is different from attention because it's not just about checking her messages or social media. It's the craving for that intense emotional surge itself, the feeling that makes your heart race and your mind obsess over her. Think about it. You remember the moments you felt on top of the world with her, a laugh that made you melt, a compliment that boosted your confidence, or even moments of intimacy that sent adrenaline through your body. Now that she's gone, you're chasing those feelings wherever you can find them, maybe by replaying memories, texting her friends, or even imagining future scenarios where you're together again. Every time you chase that emotional high, you get a temporary rush. But just like a drug, it fades, and when it does, the crash hits harder than before. That crash leaves emptiness, anxiety, and even more obsession, which fuels the cycle all over again. Let me tell you a story. A man after his breakup would obsessively check his messages and scroll through her pictures late at night. Every small notification or memory gave him a spike of happiness, but just minutes later, he felt empty, desperate, and anxious. He tried calling her, texting her, even imagining scenarios in his head where she would come back. That emotional spike became addictive. His brain was wired to seek the high, no matter how brief or fleeting it was. Here's the crucial truth: you're not addicted to her, you're addicted to the feeling. Your brain is seeking that emotional high because it's familiar, intense, and rewarding. The more you chase it, the stronger the addiction becomes. You may even tell yourself, I just need to feel close to her again, but the reality is, you're seeking the chemical reaction, not the person. So what's the solution? First, recognize it. Awareness is the first step. Acknowledge that your craving is for the emotional surge, not her. Second, replace the high with controlled, healthy highs. Exercise, push your limits, take on challenges, meditate, or learn new skills. These are sustainable sources of dopamine and emotional satisfaction that don't leave you feeling empty. The Stoic mindset reinforces this. Emotions are temporary. Discipline is permanent. I control my actions, not my fleeting feelings. By building habits that generate sustainable highs, you replace external dependence with internal control. Here's an action step. Comment below if you've chased emotional highs after a breakup. Hit the like button if you're ready to replace fleeting highs with lasting growth. Subscribe if you want more breakup advice from men and Stoic strategies to master your emotions. Remember, you are not weak or broken. Addiction to emotional highs is natural after a breakup. But with awareness, deliberate action, and the Stoic mindset, you reclaim control. You learn to thrive without external highs, and every day you build a life that gives you joy independent of her presence. The next addiction builds on this, and mastering it will make you even stronger. Addiction 4. Approval. Addiction number 4 is approval. This is when your sense of self-worth is tied to someone else, often your ex. You feel good when she notices you, compliments you, or engages with your posts. You feel empty when she doesn't. Approval addiction is dangerous because it gives your power away to someone who may not even care about your emotional state. Think about it. How many times have you checked her reactions to your posts, texts, or comments, waiting for validation? How many times have you reread conversations or tried to analyze her behavior just to feel reassured? Every time you seek approval from her, you reinforce the pattern of dependency. Your self-esteem becomes contingent on her attention, her acknowledgement, her validation. And that dependency is toxic. Here's a story. A man obsessed with approval spent weeks constantly texting his ex, hoping she would respond in a certain way. Each reply lifted him up temporarily, but every delayed response crushed him emotionally. His entire mood depended on her reactions, and his growth stalled because his focus was on pleasing someone who no longer had a place in his life. This is the danger of approval addiction. Your value is no longer determined by you, but by her reactions. The solution is simple in principle but challenging in practice. Internalize your validation. You decide your worth. Start by making a list of your achievements, qualities, and actions every day. Celebrate your wins privately. Remind yourself that your value is not determined by anyone else's acknowledgement. Apply the Stoic mindset. I am responsible for my own value, not hers. No one can make you feel worthy or worthless unless you allow it. Your power comes from self-respect, discipline, and growth, not her opinion. Here's an action step. Comment below if you've ever tied your self-worth to her approval. Like this video if you're ready to reclaim your internal validation. Subscribe for more breakup advice for men and strategies to build emotional independence. Let me give another example. A man stopped obsessing over his ex's reactions and instead focused on building his career, fitness, and social life. He tracked progress daily, celebrated personal milestones, and sought validation from his own accomplishments. Over time, he felt a sense of freedom he hadn't experienced in months. The need for her approval faded. He began living for himself, not for her acknowledgement. Remember, seeking approval is natural, but allowing it to dictate your self-worth is destructive. With awareness, deliberate internal validation, and stoic principles, you reclaim control over your emotions and your life. You begin to move on, stop missing her, and build yourself stronger every day. Stay with me, because the next addiction will hit just as hard, but with the right approach, you'll master it and regain even more control over your mind and emotions. Addiction 5. Regret. Addiction number 5 is regret. After a breakup, many men get trapped in a mental loop of what-ifs. What if I said this differently? What if I acted another way? What if I could have prevented her from leaving? Regret can be one of the most destructive forces after a breakup because it keeps you reliving the past over and over, draining your energy, and keeping you emotionally dependent on someone who's no longer part of your life. Think about it. You replay conversations in your head, analyze every word, and obsess over decisions you made, or didn't make. Every day, you imagine alternate realities where she stayed, and you could still have what you lost. The more you indulge in this mental loop, the stronger the addiction to regret becomes. Your brain rewards itself for thinking about these scenarios, creating a cycle that feels impossible to break. Here's an example. A man constantly told himself he could have done something differently to keep his ex. Every missed opportunity, every awkward conversation, became ammunition for self-blame. He couldn't sleep, he couldn't focus at work, and his confidence plummeted. Regret became a constant companion, convincing him that he was powerless. And the longer he stayed in this loop, the more trapped he felt. The first step to breaking free is reflection with closure. Spend a few minutes acknowledging the mistakes you made, but only once. Write them down, journal them, or speak them aloud. I made mistakes. I've learned from them. I cannot change the past. Then commit to moving forward. This prevents your brain from looping endlessly through what-ifs. Step 2. Turn regret into action. Identify areas where you can grow, communication skills, emotional control, discipline, and start working on them. This shifts your focus from the past to your present and future. By actively improving yourself, you transform regret into productive energy. The Stoic mindset reinforces this. The past is outside my control. My actions in the present are all that matter. Regret loses its power when you understand that you cannot change what has happened, only what you do now. Story time. A man who used to replay his ex's leaving for hours started journaling his lessons learned and setting daily goals for personal growth. Within weeks, he noticed a sense of liberation. His mind no longer spiraled into what-ifs. Regret had been replaced with progress, and he regained emotional control. Action step. Comment below if you've ever been trapped in regret. Like this video if you're ready to turn regret into action, and subscribe if you want more strategies for breakup recovery and Stoic mindset mastery. Remember, regret is a natural response, but letting it dictate your life is optional. With awareness, reflection, and actionable growth, you reclaim your power and start building a future independent of her presence. Addiction 6. Hope. Addiction number 6 is hope. The hope that she will come back, apologize, or change her mind. Hope is one of the trickiest addictions because it keeps you waiting for something that may never happen. It's a mental trap that convinces you that the key to your happiness lies outside of yourself, in her. Imagine checking your phone, thinking, maybe she'll text me today. Or replaying memories in your mind, hoping she'll realize her mistake. That hope feels comforting at first, but it's a double-edged sword. It keeps you attached to someone who may never return, delaying your healing and growth. Your mind rewards itself with fleeting surges of excitement when imagining possible reunions, but when reality doesn't match, the crash is brutal. Here's a story. A man held on to the hope that his ex would return for months. Every day, He scanned social media, analyzed her behavior, and imagined scenarios where she would come back. This hope became an obsession. He avoided socializing, stopped focusing on work, and let his personal growth stagnate because his happiness was tied to her actions. The more he hoped, the more powerless he felt. Breaking free begins with acceptance. Accept reality as it is. You cannot control her feelings, actions, or decisions. Stoic philosophy teaches, control what you can, accept what you cannot. Hope loses its power when you internalize this truth. Step 2. Focus on what you can control. Your growth, habits, career, fitness, and emotional state are entirely in your hands. Redirect your energy toward building yourself into someone who doesn't rely on her presence for happiness. Replace longing and imagining with action and achievement. Another example, a man addicted to hope started setting daily goals, reading, exercising, learning new skills, while consciously reminding himself that she may never return. Over time, the mental pull of hope weakened. He realized he could thrive without waiting for her validation or return. His emotional independence grew stronger, and freedom replaced anxiety. Action step. Comment below if you've been trapped in hope for a relationship that's over. Hit the like button if you're ready to accept reality and focus on growth. Subscribe if you want more breakup advice from men and stoic mindset strategies to reclaim your power. Remember, hope is not inherently bad, but when it controls your emotions and keeps you waiting, it becomes an addiction. Awareness, acceptance, and focus on self-growth break the cycle. By mastering this, you take your happiness into your own hands, and the need to rely on someone else's actions or feelings disappear. Addiction 7. Comparison. Addiction number 7 is comparison. After a breakup, many men fall into the trap of comparing themselves to others, or worse, comparing themselves to who they think they should have been in the relationship. You might look at other men who she interacts with, or even strangers online, and think, why isn't she noticing me like I notice him? You replay her past compliments or attention, comparing yourself to her current life. This addiction is subtle, but it keeps you mentally chained to her and prevents emotional recovery. Comparison is toxic because it steals your focus from yourself and shifts it to external validation. Every time you measure your worth against someone else, you are feeding the same psychological pattern that keeps you addicted to missing her. You're not missing her, you're addicted to the feeling of being acknowledged as enough in her eyes, and comparison amplifies that craving. Here's a story. A man spent weeks obsessively checking his ex's social media, comparing himself to her new friends, her colleagues, even strangers she interacted with online. Every post made him feel less. Every photo seemed to reinforce his inadequacy. His confidence plummeted, he stopped engaging with his own life, and he became consumed by envy and longing. This is the danger of comparison addiction. It hijacks your emotional state and prevents healing. The first step to breaking free is self-awareness. Recognize that comparison is a trap. The people you compare yourself to aren't measuring themselves against you. Their actions have nothing to do with your worth. Awareness interrupts the cycle. Step 2. Focus on your own growth. Shift your attention to personal goals, achievements, and habits. Build skills, strengthen your body, and pursue passions that make you proud. Replace the habit of measuring yourself against others with internal benchmarks. The Stoic mindset reinforces this. I control my actions, not others' opinions or achievements. Your value is intrinsic, not dependent on someone else's perception. Example: a man addicted to comparison stopped following his ex online and started tracking his own progress in fitness and career. Every small improvement became a personal victory, and slowly, the pull of comparison faded. He realized that self-worth is built internally, not externally. Action step: comment below if you've struggled with comparing yourself to others after a breakup. Hit the like button if you're ready to stop measuring your worth externally. Subscribe if you want more strategies for breakup recovery and stoic mindset mastery. Remember, comparison is natural, but letting it control your emotions is optional. Awareness, personal growth, and stoic principles break the cycle. You reclaim control over your mind, your emotions, and your life. Addiction 8. Comfort. Addiction number 8 is comfort. After a breakup, you may cling to anything that feels safe or familiar, old habits, routines, or even vices. You might return to the same places you used to go with her, look at old photos, or stay in a mental loop where the pain feels familiar and strangely comforting. This is comfort addiction, the need to cling to emotional safety even when it keeps you trapped in longing and pain. Comfort addiction is subtle. It doesn't always feel painful. In fact, it feels safe. You may convince yourself that replaying memories or staying in the same environment is harmless, even soothing. But in reality, it reinforces dependency on the past and prevents emotional growth. You're addicted to the familiar, even if it hurts, because your brain avoids the uncertainty of moving on. Here's a story. A man who had recently broken up continued visiting the coffee shop where he and his ex used to meet. Every sight, smell, and sound triggered memories and emotional highs, but also lows. He felt temporarily comforted by the familiar surroundings, but each visit reinforced longing and prevented him from moving forward. This is comfort addiction, clinging to what feels safe, even if it keeps you in pain. The solution begins with discomfort training. Expose yourself to new environments, create new routines, and break patterns that remind you of her. Take small steps outside your comfort zone, join a new hobby, exercise in new locations, or socialize in new circles. The unfamiliar is where growth happens. Step 2. Replace comfort with productive coping strategies. Meditation, journaling, skill building, and exercise create sustainable emotional stability without relying on the past or external validation. Over time, these habits form a new foundation for happiness and emotional independence. Stoic mindset integration. I embrace discomfort because it builds strength. I am not dependent on the familiar for peace. Stoicism teaches that true freedom comes from self-mastery, not attachment to external comfort or familiar patterns. Another example. A man addicted to comfort started morning workouts in new parks, joined a club to meet new people, and journaled about his growth daily. At first, he felt anxious and resistant, but as he persisted, he discovered that stepping out of comfort gave him confidence, independence, and emotional resilience. The pull of comfort addiction faded. Action step. Comment below if you've ever clung to comfort after a breakup. Like this video if you're ready to step out of your comfort zone. And subscribe if you want more breakup advice from men and stoic strategies for building independence. Remember, comfort addiction is normal, but it does not define you. Awareness, intentional exposure to discomfort, and stoic mindset principles allow you to reclaim your emotional freedom and finally move on from her. With these last steps, you complete the roadmap for mastering all 8 addictions that keep men stuck after a breakup. Now that you've seen the 8 most powerful addictions men fall into after a breakup: attention, nostalgia, emotional highs, approval, regret, hope, comparison, and comfort, you have the roadmap to break free. Remember the hook: you're not missing her, you're addicted to the feeling she gave you. Understanding this is the first step to reclaiming your emotional power. The truth is, missing her isn't about her, it's about the cravings, the highs, the validation, and the comfort you've been chasing. And the good news? You can control it. Each addiction we covered has a solution. Limit triggers, focus on growth, replace fleeting highs with sustainable habits, internalize validation, embrace discomfort, and practice the stoic mindset daily. Your transformation starts with action. Comment below which addiction hit you the hardest. Acknowledging it is the first step to breaking it. Like this video if you're ready to reclaim control over your mind and emotions. Subscribe if you want to continue building a stronger, more independent version of yourself. Remember, self-respect, discipline, and stoic principles are your keys to freedom. The pain of missing her can fade, and what replaces it is power, confidence, and growth. You're capable of moving on, thriving, and creating a life where your happiness doesn't depend on anyone else's approval.